There is no secret. There is only the truth. You become what you act like. The world doesn't respond to what you hope for. It doesn't care what you wish for. It rewards who you decide to become. If you want to be powerful, act powerful. If you want to be wealthy, think and move like someone who owns their future. If you want to lead, lead your own damn life first. That's the law, and no one escapes it. You're not waiting for a sign. You are the signal. Right now, this moment, your posture, your thoughts, your energy, all of it is training your future. And if you keep moving like the old version of you, don't expect new results. Greatness doesn't show up at your door. You summon it with discipline, with how you carry yourself when no one's watching. That's where character is built. And character shapes destiny. Forget motivation. What you need is alignment. If you walked into a room as the person you dream of becoming, how would you talk? How would you stand? What would you no longer tolerate? Act like it now, because identity is not found. It's forged. You don't stumble into the life you want. You construct it with intention, with decisions that match the version of you who has already arrived. Burn the bridge back to comfort. There is no returning to average. Your new standard is not negotiable. You must speak your goals out loud, move with purpose, and starve the weak voice in your head. No more excuses, no more delay. The future is built in moments like this, when you choose to rise and never shrink again. You cannot fake belief. You must believe with everything you have that your vision is real, even when the world laughs, even when it's hard, even when it hurts. That belief is your foundation, and every single step you take in faith, every action in alignment, moves mountains over time. Let others doubt. You don't have time for that. You're too busy becoming. Whatever you think you lack is a lie. You are already equipped. The resources, the strength, the fire, it's there, but it only activates when you move. You will not be ready before you act. You act, and readiness follows. That's the code. Live it, breathe it, walk like a giant even if you feel small, because eventually the world will adjust to your new size. This is not about hype, it's about transformation. You want to be the one who commands respect? Then command it with your daily standards. You want results? Then earn them by refusing to be the same. Your goals are not distant, they are dormant, waiting for you to become the person who can claim them. That person lives in you. Wake them up. Identity precedes reality. That is the root, the spark, the beginning of all power. Before any success, any transformation, any breakthrough, there must be a shift in identity. You will never rise above the standard you set for yourself internally. You don't get what you want, you get what you are, what you embody, what you're willing to claim, not just in thought, but in how you carry yourself moment to moment. The truth is brutal but clean. You are always performing in line with your self-image. And if that image is weak, unsure, unfocused, then your actions will mirror that. Your outcomes will mirror that. No one climbs by accident. You become what you repeatedly decide to be. That's why change doesn't start with a plan. It doesn't begin with a new job, a new relationship, or a new opportunity. It begins with a decision to become someone new. Your outer world will always chase your inner world. Identity is not found. It is constructed, forged through consistent, aligned action. The future version of you is not waiting in the clouds. It is waiting in your habits, in your mindset, in how you respond when pressure hits, when doubt creeps in, when you feel small but decide to move anyway. You are not separate from your goals. You are the source of them. The question is not how to get what you want, it's how to become the person who gets what they want. Most people never rise because they are too attached to the version of themselves that keeps them small. They cling to comfort, to excuses, to false limitations. They think their past defines their future. They think struggle means stop. But identity is fluid. It's not set in stone. You are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not your fears. You are what you decide to be today, in this moment. And once that decision is made with conviction, the world starts to bend in your favor. Because power respects clarity. Power follows those who walk with intention. You want discipline? Act like someone who has it. You want confidence? Speak like someone who owns the room. You want success? Move like someone who expects it, not someday. Now. There is no gap between you and the life you want, only the gap between how you currently behave and how that future version of you behaves. Bridge that gap with action, with mindset, with boldness. Stop waiting to feel ready. Stop waiting for proof. Your belief is the proof. Your identity is the foundation. It always starts with how you see yourself. Think about this: when you wake up in the morning, are you preparing to survive the day or to dominate it? Are you walking like someone who leads or someone who waits? Your energy sends signals. The way you breathe, the way you walk, the way you show up when no one's watching. That's where it's won. And if you're moving like someone who's still unsure, still begging for validation, then your results will match that energy. But when you decide that nothing less than excellence is acceptable, when you raise your standard without apology, your environment will shift, your circle will shift, your life will shift. You don't have to wait to be chosen. You choose yourself. You crown yourself. You become the leader of your own life before anyone else sees it. That's how this works. Power doesn't come from permission. It comes from presence. From showing up as the person who already has what you want. Not pretending, embodying. There's a difference. This is not about acting fake. This is about choosing a higher standard and refusing to break it. You dress like it. You talk like it. You think like it. Not because it's a game, because it's who you are now. There will be resistance. There will be doubt. There will be people who remember the old you and try to keep you there. Let them talk. Let them stay behind. You are not here to play small. You are here to evolve, to build, to conquer. And every time you act like the next level version of yourself, that old identity weakens. Eventually it dies, and in its place you become unstoppable. Not because it was easy, but because you refuse to break, you refuse to shrink, you refuse to forget who you were becoming. Most never get there because they never commit. They dabble in identity. They flirt with greatness. But flirting doesn't build empires. Obsession does, clarity does, relentless alignment does. You don't get to bounce between your old habits and your new life. That's not how transformation works. You burn the bridge. You step into the fire. You become the person who earns it, lives it, breathes it. The version of you who acts like it before it even shows up. And when you do that long enough, reality has no choice but to obey. So the challenge is simple. Are you willing to drop who you were for who you could be? Are you willing to act like the person you want to be, even when no one claps, even when it's lonely, even when you're scared? Because that's where it all changes. The identity comes first. And when that shifts, everything else follows. Behavior is the bridge. It is the only thing that connects who you are now with who you are meant to become. You can dream all you want, speak affirmations all day, write your goals in gold ink, but without behavior that matches the vision, nothing moves. Behavior is the proof. It is the signal to yourself and to the universe that you're serious. It's easy to speak about change. It's easy to wish for transformation. But wishing is worthless without action. Every time you behave in alignment with the person you want to be, you're laying a plank on that bridge. And every time you don't, you're either standing still or tearing it down. You want to know who someone is becoming? Don't ask them what they want. Watch how they move. Watch how they handle pain. Watch how they respond when no one is watching. That's where truth lives. Your behavior reveals your identity more than your words ever could. People say they want to be disciplined but keep breaking their own promises. People say they want to lead but wait for someone else to act first. Behavior tells the real story, and if your actions contradict your goals, the outcome will always follow the actions. The future version of you is not a fantasy. It's a result of repeated deliberate behavior. You don't leap into a new life. You build it one action at a time, one small shift repeated until it becomes natural, until it becomes who you are. Change doesn't happen through talk. Change happens when your behavior refuses to reflect the old version of you. Every time you act in alignment with your future self, you weaken the grip of the past. That's how you escape old patterns. Not by waiting, not by reading more, but by doing different. That's the secret the world keeps hiding. There is no transformation without consistent, courageous behavior. No amount of knowledge can save you if your habits are weak. You can consume all the inspiration in the world, but if you don't act, it turns to dust. You know what needs to be done. You know what's holding you back, and you know the next action that would move you forward. The question is, do you respect yourself enough to take it? Every excuse delays the crossing. Every justification delays the progress. Behavior is not just a tool, it is the path. It is the vehicle. It is the bridge. You cannot fake behavior. You can't cheat your way to the life you say you want. You either behave like the version of you who deserves it, or you don't. And if your behavior isn't aligned yet, that doesn't mean you're broken. It means you have work to do. It means there's a gap, and that gap is not closed by force. It's closed by commitment, daily, relentless, focused, until your actions are so aligned with your vision that anything less feels foreign. You must behave like it before you believe it fully. You must walk like it, speak like it, carry yourself like it, even when the results haven't arrived. Especially when the results haven't arrived. That's where real power is forged. Not in comfort, not in ease, but in acting like the person you want to be, even when it's hard, even when no one claps, even when it's dark. The moment you start behaving differently, your mind shifts, your standards rise, your energy changes, and the world starts responding differently to you. Behavior is the evidence that separates the dreamers from the doers. Everyone has a vision, but not everyone has the discipline to act on it. You want to be elite? Behave like it before you feel like it. You want to lead? Lead your mornings. Lead your thoughts. Lead your reactions. You want greatness? Behave like someone who refuses to settle for anything less. That's how the bridge is built. That's how you walk across into the life you claim to want. Not through luck, not through talent. Through behavior that refuses to accept mediocrity. Every time you choose to show up with discipline, you're putting down another plank. Every time you act with courage, even when it scares you, you're reinforcing that bridge. Every time you speak truth instead of excuses, the bridge becomes stronger. And eventually, that bridge becomes unshakable. You look back and realize you've crossed into a new identity. Not because of some magical moment, but because you built it one action at a time. You want to stop overthinking, start acting. You want to kill doubt? Take bold steps forward. You want to silence fear? Drown it in movement. The body leads and the mind follows. Behavior creates belief, not the other way around. So the question becomes simple. Do your behaviors reflect the life you want, or the one you're trying to escape? Because there is no in-between. You're either crossing the bridge or you're standing still. And standing still is a choice. It's a behavior too. So don't wait for a sign. Your action is the sign. You don't rise by accident. You rise by decision, followed by behavior that never backs down. The habits, the discipline, the routines, those aren't extra. They are the bridge. And if you want to live on the other side of your vision, you better start walking like you belong there. You better start acting like it, no matter how far it seems. Because every powerful life is built on the quiet, focused, consistent behaviors that no one sees. But you see them, and in the end, they build the only bridge that matters. Faith fuels transformation. It is the unseen force that turns action into destiny. Without it, effort collapses under pressure. Without it, vision fades at the first sign of resistance. But with it, true, unshakable faith, you become a force that can't be stopped. Faith isn't just belief. It's belief backed by motion. It's the fire that keeps burning when the results haven't shown up, when the world says you're wasting your time, when doubt screams louder than hope. Faith is not a feeling. It is a decision to trust what you're building before the foundation is even visible. It's what keeps you moving when everything around you tells you to quit. The people who transform their lives, the ones who change the game, the ones who rise from nothing into something powerful. They all have this one trait in common. They move with a level of certainty that can't be bought, taught, or borrowed. They believe in what they're becoming. They believe in their vision when it's invisible. They believe in their strength when they're still weak. They believe in their path, even when the steps are covered in fog. This is what fuels transformation. Not perfect plans, not luck, not approval from others, but faith that never fades. There will be moments when no one claps. No one sees your effort, or no one understands your path. In those moments, faith is your only fuel. And if you don't have it, you'll stall, you'll stop, You'll surrender your future to fear. But if you've built your foundation on faith, you don't need applause. You don't need evidence. You keep going because you know who you're becoming. You don't see transformation before it happens. You believe your way into it. That's how the shift happens. First in your spirit, then in your habits, then in your life. Every single time you take a step forward without knowing how it ends, you build more power. Every time you act without guarantees, you build resilience. Every time you stay the course while others quit, your future shifts in your favor. But that only happens if faith is stronger than fear. If your belief is louder than your doubt. If your vision is more important than your comfort. That's the test. That's the path. And if you want to transform, you better be ready to walk alone with your faith before the results walk with you. People try to play it safe. They want proof before they move. But transformation doesn't work that way. You must act like it's already done. You must think like it's already yours. You must carry yourself like the outcome is guaranteed, not because you're delusional, but because your faith is bigger than your fear. That's where change begins. When you stop waiting for signs and start becoming the signal. When you stop needing validation and start building conviction. When you stop hoping and start knowing. Knowing that if you stay in motion, the outcome will match the effort. Faith is what separates the temporary from the permanent. Motivation fades. Emotion fades. Even discipline will fail on some days. But faith, real faith, endures. It pushes you through the wall. It pulls you out of the mud. It speaks louder than the voice in your head telling you to stop. That's the fuel. That's the fire. That's what transformation is built on. Not the easy days. Not the wins. But the nights you wanted to quit and chose to keep going anyway. Because deep down you knew it was only a matter of time. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to believe enough to take the next step. The entire staircase doesn't need to be visible. You build it as you climb. That's what makes transformation real. It's not about arriving, it's about continuing. It's about trusting your direction more than your doubt. It's about seeing yourself clearly before the world sees it. And when that faith becomes your identity, everything around you begins to bend toward it. People start seeing it. Opportunities start appearing. Not because they came out of nowhere, but because your belief unlocked the door. Faith makes you move when logic says stay. It makes you speak up when silence feels safer. It makes you take the leap when your legs are shaking. Because transformation is always on the other side of uncertainty. If you wait until you're ready, you'll never start. If you wait until it's perfect, you'll never move. But if you move with faith, you give life no choice but to catch up. The world bends for those who refuse to bend for it. The world yields to those who move forward even when it says turn back. And the truth is, every version of you that's ever lived, doubtful, hesitant, insecure, has brought you to this point. But that version can't cross the next threshold. It's time to upgrade. It's time to step into the identity that your goals require. That kind of shift doesn't happen through pressure. It happens through faith. Through a silent, steady decision to no longer negotiate with fear. To no longer doubt what you're building. To no longer water down your potential for the comfort of staying the same. You don't rise by waiting. You rise by believing. You rise by holding the vision so clearly that it begins to shape your words, your movements, your focus. That's how transformation happens. Slowly, quietly, then suddenly. And every moment of faith you stack brings you closer. You don't need to know when, you just need to know. Know that what you're building is real. Know that what you feel in your gut is true. Know that if you don't quit, it will show up. Because it's not the world's job to believe in you first. It's yours. Always has been. Always will be. Cut ties with weakness. Don't negotiate with it. Don't entertain it. Don't justify it. Kill it. Because the version of you that tolerates weakness will never become the version of you that dominates. Weakness is not who you are. It's what you've allowed. It's the comfort you've chosen over growth. The excuses you've dressed up as reasons. The fear you've mistaken for wisdom. Weakness hides in your habits. It hides in the way you speak about your goals, the way you back down when it gets hard, the way you look for the exit instead of pushing through the wall. And every time you feed it, it grows stronger. But when you cut ties with it, when you sever the cord and stop making room for it, you unlock a version of yourself that's been waiting on the other side of discipline. Weakness is not your friend. It does not protect you. It does not comfort you. It only delays your rise. It drains your potential in silence while you lie to yourself that you're being realistic. But there is no reward for being realistic when your dreams are on the line. There is only the question, are you willing to sacrifice the weaker version of yourself for the stronger one waiting to be built? And if you are, then the work begins, not in thought, but in action. Not once, every day, in every decision. In every moment where your old self whispers for comfort and your new self demands more weakness, always offers you an easy way out. It gives you reasons to skip the work, reasons to delay the change, reasons to stay in the life you're pretending to outgrow. But those reasons are lies dressed in logic. And if you listen, you'll stay trapped in a cycle that repeats itself year after year while your potential rots inside you. So cut the rope, burn the bridge, eliminate the language of limitation. Stop saying I'll try, stop saying maybe later, stop saying I don't feel like it. Those are the phrases of weakness. Replace them with action. Replace them with movement. Replace them with a voice that commands respect from your mind. The strongest people aren't born that way. They're built in the fire, in the silence, in the rejection, in the repetition. And they all have one thing in common. They stopped giving weakness a seat at the table. They stopped entertaining the stories that told them to slow down, give up, or turn back. You don't break limits by being kind to your excuses. You break them by becoming someone who holds the line, who doesn't flinch when it hurts, who doesn't blink when the pressure rises. You want to win? Then train like a winner, move like a winner, speak like a winner. And most importantly, cut off everything in you that keeps losing. You already know what your weakness looks like. You've seen it, felt it, or fed it. You know the patterns, you know the triggers, you know how it sneaks in. And now it's time to stop giving it access. You don't need to fix everything at once, but you do need to draw a line. You do need to raise your standard. You do need to make a decision that the person you're becoming cannot afford to keep babysitting the person you used to be. Growth is violent. Growth is ruthless. Growth is war between your potential and your patterns. And you cannot win that war while carrying the weight of weakness with you. Every excuse you make is a chain around your power. Every shortcut you take is a step away from greatness. Every time you delay, the old you gets stronger. And the longer you let that version live, the harder it becomes to evolve. So starve it with discipline, starve it with focus, starve it with relentless consistency. Show up when you don't want to, execute when no one's watching. Push when your body says stop. That's how the weak version dies. That's how the strong version takes over. You're not here to be average. You're not here to blend in. You're not here to survive. You're here to dominate, to lead, to become something unrecognizable to the version of you that used to beg for comfort. And if you want that, then you have to make a hard choice. Not once, but every day. You have to choose strength over softness, discipline over distraction, grit over ease. And that choice is not always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's just you, a dark room, and a decision. Do I rise or do I repeat? And even when no one believes yet, even when the results haven't shown up, even when it feels like you're failing, cut ties with weakness. Because weakness wants you to believe that temporary pain means permanent failure. But it's lying. The pain is part of the process. The struggle is part of the evolution. And the version of you that will win is built in those exact moments. So don't pull back. Don't retreat. Push. Harder, deeper, longer. Until there's nothing left of the old you, but the memory of who you used to be. This life is not given. It's earned. And the price is everything that doesn't serve your rise. That includes fear. That includes laziness. That includes every behavior that keeps you small. Cut it, without apology, without delay, and replace it with action, hunger, execution. Every time you act from strength, you take ground. Every time you hold the line, you build power. And that's how transformation happens, not all at once, but choice by choice, day by day, until the only version of you that exists is the one that doesn't know how to quit, doesn't know how to fold, and never answers when weakness calls. Speak, move, and think like your future self. Don't wait to become that version of you. Be that version now. Every word you speak programs your mind. Every move you make shapes your reality. Every thought you allow either builds your future or binds you to your past. You are not becoming that person someday. You become that person the moment you decide to act like them, consistently, ruthlessly, without compromise. Most people wait for results before they change their identity. That's backwards. Identity doesn't follow results. Results follow identity. And identity is built in the way you show up. When no one is watching, your future self doesn't hesitate. Your future self doesn't talk like a victim. Your future self doesn't walk with doubt in their spine or fear in their step. So why would you speak, move, or think like anything less right now? You must carry the energy of the person you want to become before you see the proof. That's the key. That's how the shift happens. People who win in life didn't stumble into greatness. They aligned their words, their posture, their thoughts with their highest standard before they were rewarded for it. Stop speaking limitation. Stop talking like someone who's unsure of their power. Speak certainty. Speak discipline. Speak focus. Let your language match your vision. The moment you say, I always finish what I start, your mind finds ways to prove it. The moment you say, I execute no matter how I feel, your body follows. But if you keep talking like you're stuck, you'll stay stuck. Your words are weapons. Aim them wisely. The most powerful transformation begins with your tongue. Train it. Guard it. Let it serve the future, not the past, then move like it. Your walk, your posture, your presence. Don't wait for confidence to show up. Move like confidence already lives in you. Move like you're on assignment. Move like you belong in every room you enter. Slouching, avoiding eye contact, looking for escape routes. Those are the movements of someone still negotiating their worth. You're done with that. The world responds to energy before it listens to logic. Move like you're becoming undeniable. Because when you do, you stop asking for permission to be powerful, and you start commanding it and your thoughts. Those are the control center. You can't build a future with thoughts built in fear. You can't move into greatness while carrying the mindset of someone who doubts every step. Think discipline, think strength, think strategy. You don't just have thoughts, you choose them. You replace the ones that serve weakness. You reinforce the ones that serve growth. When fear shows up, you don't argue with it, you override it with the clarity of someone who has already decided. Because thinking like your future self means you no longer entertain the internal war between doubt and decision. The decision has been made. Now everything must align with it. There is no elite version of you waiting to magically appear one day. That version is built, and it's built through repetition, through reinforcement, through consistency. It's not a switch, it's a process. But that process accelerates the moment you commit to embodying it now. Not when you have the money. Not when you have the status. Not when everyone believes in you. Now. Because the longer you delay acting like the person you want to be, the longer you delay becoming them. Time doesn't make you better. Alignment does. You must look in the mirror and see the future staring back at you. Not the old story, not the doubts, not the failures, but the identity that's rising through every step of aligned action. And you reinforce that identity every time you speak from it, every time you move from it, every time you think from it. That's how you erase the gap between who you are and who you're becoming. Not through waiting, through embodiment, through conviction, through refusal to entertain anything that contradicts the identity you're committed to living. So ask yourself, how does your future self speak? Speak like that now. How do they walk into a room? Walk like that now. What do they think when adversity hits? Think like that now, because there's no power in waiting to feel ready. The power is in deciding you're already becoming, already worthy, already aligned. And once you move like it, the results have no choice but to follow. Environment matters. It builds you or breaks you, fuels you or drains you, sharpens you or dulls you. You are not just a product of your thoughts. You are a product of your surroundings. The people you talk to, the energy in the room, the discipline or chaos in your space, all of it writes on your mindset, your habits, your focus. You can have the right vision, the right goals, the right hunger. But if you're planted in a toxic environment, your growth will choke. You can't rise surrounded by what keeps you small. You can't stay sharp surrounded by dull blades. You can't stay driven surrounded by comfort. Look around you. Is your environment a mirror of your past or a reflection of your future? Because your surroundings will either reinforce your old self or challenge you to step into your next level. Every person you allow into your life is either pushing you forward or pulling you backward. Every conversation you engage in is either expanding your thinking or shrinking it. You must become brutal about your space. You must protect your energy like it's oxygen, because it is. The wrong environment will suffocate your ambition, normalize your excuses, and blind you to your potential. The fastest way to kill momentum is to stay in environments that tolerate mediocrity. If everyone around you settles, you'll lower your standard without even noticing. Excellence doesn't survive where average is accepted. And the scariest part is how silent that shift can be. One compromise at a time, one distraction at a time, one it's not that serious at a time. That's how greatness dies. Not in one big moment, but through slow erosion by an environment that whispers, "You're doing enough," when deep down you know you're not. If you want to become more, you have to be around more. Greatness doesn't grow in comfort. It grows in friction, in challenge, in the presence of others who demand more from themselves and more from you. You need people around you who force you to level up, not pacify your excuses. You need spaces that breathe discipline, not laziness, that celebrate effort, not ease, that talk goals, not gossip, that don't just applaud your wins, but hold you accountable to your standards. That's the kind of environment that transforms. That's the soil where your next level grows. And if you're not in that place yet, create it, build it, shape it. You don't have to wait for the perfect circle to find you. Start curating it. Cut what weakens you. Add what strengthens you. You have full authority over your space, and with that authority comes responsibility. Stop blaming the environment you refuse to change. Clean your room, clear your phone, audit your inputs, audit your influences, set standards so high that anything not aligned can't survive around you. Because when your environment is built for growth, you stop needing motivation to move. Everything around you moves you. Everything around you reminds you of who you're becoming. The wrong environment will make greatness feel out of place, but the right one will make mediocrity feel uncomfortable. And that's the shift. You want to grow? Get uncomfortable staying the same. You want to win? Or make it painful to lose focus. That doesn't come from willpower alone. It comes from structure, surroundings, strategy. The best don't just work hard, they work smart. They know the game is easier to play when the field is set up in their favor. They engineer their environment to win. They make it hard to fail, hard to slip, hard to drift. Not because they're perfect, but because their surroundings make alignment easier than distraction. You become what you're exposed to. Period. You hang around discipline, you become disciplined. You hang around clarity, you think clearly. You hang around drive, you start running. But you hang around doubt, you shrink. You hang around chaos, you crumble. You hang around weakness, you soften. It's not just influence, it's immersion. So if your current environment isn't serving your next level, it's time to go. Not out of hate, not out of pride, but out of purpose, out of responsibility, out of full commitment to becoming the version of you that can no longer breathe in spaces built for the old you. Your environment is either a cage or a launch pad, and you know which one you're in. You can feel it. You can feel when your energy drops just walking into a room. You can feel when you're surrounded by people who don't speak your language of hunger, who flinch at your ambition, who laugh at your standards. That's not your home. That's not your circle. That's your warning. You're either going to shrink to stay connected or grow and risk outgrowing. And the truth is, you have to outgrow. If you don't, you'll stay emotionally loyal to a place that's killing your potential. The hardest part is leaving. The most necessary part is leaving. Because once you shift your environment, you shift everything else. Focus gets easier, discipline gets sharper, ideas get bolder, and success becomes a byproduct of alignment. It becomes a result of being in the right rooms, with the right energy, at the right time, for the right reasons. That's not a luxury, that's a necessity. Environment matters. It shapes your frequency, your mindset, your identity. Control it or it will control you. Build it or it will break you. Choose it wisely because your future depends on it. Persistence overrides obstacles. Not talent, not luck, not timing, persistence. The man or woman who refuses to stop is more dangerous than the one who starts with more. Obstacles aren't the end, they're tests. They're checkpoints asking one question: how bad do you want it? And most people fail because they answer with excuses instead of endurance. They expect progress without pressure. They expect elevation without resistance. But the truth is, the path to anything worth having will challenge your patience, your grit, and your resilience. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to push you. That's how it earns its value. And only the persistent survive that process when others quit. The persistent adapt. When others doubt, the persistent double down. When the pain gets louder, the persistent get stronger. They don't fold because it's difficult. They lean in. Because they've trained their mind to see obstacles as part of the climb, not proof they should stop. You can't be fragile and win. You can't be easily discouraged and lead. Life doesn't care how gifted you are. It only responds to those who keep showing up. And the truth is, most people stop right before it turns. Most people collapse when all they had to do was continue. Every rejection, every delay, every closed door is not a failure. It's feedback, it's redirection, it's resistance training for your future self. You don't grow when everything is easy. You grow when persistence becomes your default, not your last resort. When you stop giving power to emotions and start giving power to execution. When your reasons are stronger than your excuses, that's when obstacles lose their grip. Not because they disappear, but because you've become too relentless to be stopped by them. That's the mindset. That's the weapon. That's the edge. The persistent don't beg for opportunities. They build them. They don't wait for motivation. They create systems. They don't whine about setbacks. They use them as fuel. They've made peace with discomfort. They've made patience a part of their identity. And they know that breakthrough doesn't come to those who knock once and walk away. It comes to those who knock until the door breaks. The grind isn't glamorous. The grind is gritty. It's lonely. It's brutal. But persistence isn't about how you feel. It's about what you do regardless of how you feel. Obstacles will never stop showing up. But persistence makes sure you keep moving anyway. That's what separates the few from the many. Most people only move when it's easy. Most people only commit when it's convenient. But the elite, the ones who finish, the ones who win, they move regardless. They understand that every delay is a test of posture. Will you shrink or will you hold the line? Will you panic or will you press forward? The answer determines whether you stay stuck or step into your next level. Because obstacles don't kill dreams. Inconsistent effort does. Persistence means showing up when no one's clapping. It means working the plan when the results are invisible. It means pushing even when you feel like progress is crawling. Because progress isn't always loud. Sometimes it's slow. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's buried under layers of doubt and fatigue. But if you keep digging, if you keep moving, if you refuse to stop, eventually it breaks. Eventually the dam cracks. Eventually momentum flips. And when it does, you don't rise because you were lucky. You rise because you refuse to break. The dream doesn't belong to the most excited. It belongs to the most consistent. It belongs to the one who outlasts the storm. Everyone's committed on day one. Everyone believes when the vision is fresh. But the real measure is what you do on day 50, when the energy's faded and the grind feels heavy. That's where the separation happens. That's where the weak fold and the persistent dig deeper. Because the persistent understand that results are earned in the trenches, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in the boring repetitions no one sees, in the sacrifices no one applauds. No one owes you your breakthrough. The world gives nothing freely. You want it? Prove it. Not once, not for a week, every day. Persistence is the signal to the universe that you're serious, that you're done negotiating, that you're willing to pay full price. And once you do that, once your actions align with your ambition over time, obstacles can slow you, but they can't stop you. They lose power the moment you stop entertaining their story. They shrink when you realize you're bigger than them. You just have to outlast them. you don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to be the strongest. But you do need to be the one who doesn't stop, because life opens up for the person who refuses to go away. The one who's still standing after the storm. The one who's still building after the failure. The one who looks at the obstacle and says, "Move, or I'll move through you." That's power. That's persistence. That's how mountains are moved. Not by force, but by refusal to quit, so when the pressure rises, lean in. When the results stall, double down. When everything in you says stop, go harder. Because you're not just chasing results. You're building character. You're proving to yourself that you are unshakable. You are immovable. You are built for this. Obstacles will keep coming, but they don't define your limit. Your persistence does. Keep going, keep building, keep showing up. Because in the end, it's not the one who started fastest. It's the one who never stopped moving forward. So now you know, it's not about who starts with the most. It's about who refuses to stop. It's not about avoiding the obstacles. It's about outlasting them. Everything you want is already waiting on the other side of consistency. And the only thing standing between where you are and where you're going is your ability to persist when it's no longer exciting, no longer easy, no longer fast. You've felt the fire. You've seen the vision. Now become the kind of person who doesn't flinch when it gets hard. Become the kind of person who moves forward, even when progress is invisible. Become the kind of person who chooses discipline over doubt, execution over emotion, purpose over pain. Because the truth is simple. Persistence overrides obstacles every single time. Keep moving, keep proving, keep becoming.